Hi everybody, this is Marissa with Adobe Photoshop, lesson number 2. It is for beginners. So the first thing we need to do is go down to my website and download the files for this lesson. Just click on the link below. I don't have it open at the moment, so I'm just going to go into my website and stroll down to lesson number 2. Once you've got that open, right click on the first photo. This is taking some time. Right click on the first photo and go down to download. Then you go to the next photograph, right click on it and download, and the third one. And while these 3 files are downloading, let's just go to Adobe Photoshop and open that up. Last week we learned how to be on the same interface, and you had saved yourself a file doing that. So whoever has done that, go to Window, Workspace. Mine is Lesson. It's got a V next to it, and so all I need to do is go and do Reset Lesson, and I should get everything intact. If you do not know how to do that, go to lesson number 1 and it will show you how to do it. Whenever I start off with just clicking on the move tool, or just clicking V on my keyboard, and then we can get started. So go to File, Open, or Control O on the PC, or Command O on the Mac, and let's open up the 3 files that we actually downloaded. So let's see what a pixel is before we start understanding more about sizes and whatnot. If I take my zoom tool, or just click Z on the keyboard, I can enlarge this area. Now notice that I'm starting to get a grid here. In order for me to take away the grid, go to View and Extras, or Control H, and it will go away. This photo is the less quality photo that I have out of the 3, and as you notice, the pixels are pretty big. If I go to my largest photo and click in the same area, you'll notice that once again I'm getting that grid. I'm just going to go to View and Extras. You'll notice that the pixels are actually a bit different to the other ones, and we can see it in how the pixels are next to another pixel. So they've taken away a lot of, just say this area over here where it's blue or gray, they've taken a lot of these pixels away. Notice the difference. Here I have many more pixels to make up the photograph. If I go into the red part, know how much I have here and how little I have here, which is the same area, by the way. And how can I prove that? Maybe like this. So that's the difference, and that is a pixel. So a pixel is actually just a square with amount of information on it. And it depends how much of information you have in order to make the quality of the actual photograph. I'd like to start off with Venice smallest and just show you the image size. It's numbers, so it's hard to even know exactly what I'm going to show you. If you want to take a pencil and paper, or pen and paper, and just write it down, it will be easier. So go to image size, and notice that the top part is 701K, which is less than 1 mega with a M. So that's less than 1 mega. The height, the width of the actual file is 600 pixels, and the height is 399 pixels, and the resolution is 72 pixels. Now 72 pixels is a resolution for a monitor, or for a computer, for the internet, so it's not a problem. So when you're doing anything for the internet, you know that you want to originally get down to 72 pixels per inch. But if you want to print out a photograph, you're going to need 300 pixels per inch, which that is called the resolution. And if we go to Venice Large, you'll notice that when I go to image and image size, I have a resolution here of 300 pixels. Not only do I have 300 pixels, notice that my width has 5,906 pixels compared to about 600 that I had on the other one, and the height is 3,930 where I had, I don't even know how much, probably 300 pixels. But my image size is very, very heavy. It's 66.4 mega, and before I had less than 1 mega. So to put this up in the internet will be pretty heavy for the internet. It will take time for the photograph to open up. So when you do a resolution of 300, that is going to be for printing it out onto paper or canvas or whatever you want to do, t-shirt, whatever you want to do. Now another photo, which is the middle part of the photo, let's just look at it for a second. Venice 72 ppi. So this is a larger photo than the very small one, and it is in 72 ppi, but I can still print it out. And I'm going to go to image size, and I just want to show you its size. So here you have 72 pixels, but you have 3,000 pixels in the width and a height of 1,996. And notice that the file size is 70.1 mega. Not, remember the smallest one was a kilobyte, which is less than 1 mega. So this is 17 times larger than that little one. And let me prove it to you. So in order for me to prove it, let's go and open up a new file. Go to File and New, or Control N or Command N on the Mac. And here I have many templates. The template that I'm looking for is something that I can print, which will be 300 ppi, and I want it to be a home printer, so I want it to be an A4 format, and it is over right here. And 29.7 centimeters by 21, I know that that is an A4. For those who are in America, you can look it up in inches. You just have to change the centimeters to inches, and you'll get your inches here, and you'll see the actual size. Now, I'm not going to go into what a bit is at the moment. I will do that in lessons later on. But for now, all I need to know is that I'm in an A4, and my resolution is 300 ppi, which is for printing on paper. It's much larger than I need for the internet. Remember, internet, oh, I didn't open up, sorry. Let me just, sorry, once again. File, New, and let's just open it up, Create. Now I have it. I can renew this, save it as, I'm just going to leave it as Untitled 1. And with my Move tool, I'm going to detach it from the other files. Just drag it down. What I'm doing now is pressing my left button on my mouse and dragging it out. So it's right over here. I'm going to take the first smallest photo that I have, which is Venice smallest. With my Move tool, I'm going to touch that photo, left click on the mouse, and drag it into the area that I had just created. And this is the actual size of the photo if I were to print it out on a printer. Now let me just show you. I'm using my zoom tool. I could have clicked the zoom tool or gone and Z on my keyboard as you wish. This is the size of the format of an A4, and this will be the size of the picture if I were to print it out on my printer. I'm going to take the second largest one, which is not for printing, but it's a much larger file. And I'm going to use my Move tool. I'm going to see what size it is in order to decide if I want to print it out or not. So left click on the mouse and drag it into this area. And actually it's not a bad size. I can actually print it out. It's pretty much the size of an A4, just a little bit smaller. But the quality is still good enough. And the third one I'm going to do is take the largest photograph, and this one I know is for printing because it's 300 ppi. If I went into image size, I will see that I do have 300 ppi here, and my pixels are pretty big, probably bigger than the A4. And by left clicking on the mouse and using the move tool, I'm going to drag it onto my canvas. And now I can see that it is actually bigger. If I move it around, I can see it's bigger than the actual size of what I had created. Now, I know this is not a lesson for layers. I just want to mention that each time I moved one of my pictures onto this canvas, I got a layer. But we're not going to go into it right now. Now, the reason that I can't see the other pictures is because whatever I can see on a layer is the top layer. So number 4 is my top layer. If I wanted to see these other layers, I had to either move them around, and I'll show you how to do that in another lesson, probably lesson number 3, because we're going to talk about basic layers, or I could just click off the eye here and see whatever I've got underneath. Okay. Now I'd like to actually show you how to save various ways. So let's start with number 1. If I had this file and I needed a cup of coffee, but I just wanted to save the file and I didn't want anything to happen to it, but I wanted to go away and make sure that when I come back it will be exactly the same, all I need to do is go to File, Save As. Let's just call this Venice. And make sure that the Save As type is on Photoshop PSD, which is the first one on the top. And if I save it, I'll show you in a second what it looks like. The second save is just to save a JPEG without all these layers staying there. Make the file smaller, but know that this is the photo that I want. And then with that, I will go to File, Save As, make sure that I've got a name here, and go to JPEG, which is this one right over here, JPEG, JPG, JPEG, JPE. Click on that, call it Venice, and do Save. Now I'm not going into what basic line is and what quality is. Just leave it at 12 and at baseline and do Save. Do OK. So I've got 2 saved so far. The third one I want to save is how to save it for the internet. So go to File, Export. We are exporting this to the internet, which is Save for Web. You can also go to Alt-Shift-Control-S, which seems like a long thing to do, or just go to File, Export, and Save for Web. Choose what is easier for you. I'll get this window. The first thing, I would like to make sure that I have JPEG here and not one of the others, which we will learn in future lessons what they are. I'm going for 100% quality, and here I can actually change the size of pixels that I want. Now 3508 is pretty big for the internet. I can go down to even 1000 and something, but I will do it at 2000. So I'm writing in 2000. Now notice that while I'm doing that, in the width, the height is actually changing, and the reason is because I have this lock on here. So I'm not changing the proportion of the picture. The proportion will stay exactly the same, and I'll explain to you what proportion is in a second, but I can keep it in the right proportion but make it a smaller quality photograph, but good enough for the internet. And that is for now, for 2021, because things change. When I started off doing internet, 600 was enough. Anyway, and we'll get into why that is, but not right now. That's a bit of boring stuff. So just do Save, and I'm going to call this Venice for Web. And just save that. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like. what the files look like. So I'm opening it up. I kept everything in download, and here you can see save for web. Okay, Venice for web. You can see Venice, which this is my JPEG, and notice when I click on that, I've got the size of that file is 3.96. The size of for web is 1.51 mega. And this Venice is way more. It's 104 megabytes compared to 1.51 megabytes. So, and this is the one that we kept the layers. We went for coffee, you know. We went to have a cup of coffee, came back, and wanted everything to be the same. So these are the 3 ways at the moment to save. I'm not going to show you more at this moment. In order to just show you proportion, what I was talking about before, I wanted to show you what proportion means. So if I have this photograph and I have unlocked the layer here, but you don't have to go into it, it's just an explanation of what it's about, then in order for me to keep myself into proportion, I can go to edit and transform and scale, and just scale this down, and I'm staying in the same proportion. The actual picture is not changing. But if I go onto shift and I say go to this left side square, I can make things out of proportion, out of what they were before, and make them look very, very thin. Or I can do the opposite and make them look very, 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 very fat. So I'll do that. So that's taking a picture out of proportion. Now if I want them to be in proportion, all I need to do is go to edit, undo free transform, and they'll go back to what they were. And to keep them into proportion means going to edit, transform, scale, not touching anything, and just scaling it down or scaling it up. I can do each one that I wish, as long as I'm not touching anything. So that's all about proportion. I'm going to finish off this video. I want to thank you for being with me. Please give me a thumbs up, comment and subscribe, and if you need the notification, just click that little bell. And have a great day, and hope to see you in my next video. So bye for now.